This video will show you the steps for completing the Probability from Scratch assignment on Google Classroom. Once you're in Google Classroom, you will see Probability from Scratch assignment. Click Open to see all of the files that are attached. After a moment, you will notice that you have two files that appear. Begin by clicking on the Google Sheets file. When we began this lesson, we rolled a dice 12 times and recorded our results. You will record your results in the first data table that is shown here. I'm going to enter some data, and you should enter your own data. Now you can get Google Sheets to create a circle graph or a pie chart to represent this data. All you have to do that is highlight all of the numbers within your chart and then click Explore in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen. When that comes up, you will scroll down and see that a pie chart has appeared. If you click this plus button, the Insert Chart button, it will put your pie chart in your working space. Now you can see that each roll is represented by a color in the pie chart. You can then shrink your circle graph, and I would shrink it only until as big as you can with all the numbers still showing, and decrease the size on both sides until all of the numbers are showing. And then you need to edit the title of the graph to show how many rolls this represented. So I'm going to double click the title, and I'm going to add 12 in front of the word rolls and hit enter. So now we have a graph that shows what we saw in the 12 rolls. If you go back to Google Classroom, you will then see the Probability from Scratch Graphs Google Slides. You should also open that, and it will open another tab at the top. We're going to paste the pie chart that we just created here on top of where it says Experiment 1. So if you go back to the tab of your Google Sheets and click on it, you can copy your chart by clicking Control-C for copy and then clicking Control-V to paste. Then you want to resize it a bit so that it's not taking up all of the space. Then we're going to go back to our sheet, and you can move this one down somewhere out of the way. And you're going to enter the data from your second experiment. Let's say that we had decided on doing 20 rolls to represent 4 weeks of recess and lunch, and this was the data that we got. You should enter whatever data your team collected as you were doing the experiment. Then in the same way as before, you would highlight the numbers that you just entered, and you would scroll down and see that this pie chart has been created. Click Insert Chart. You want to resize it, making sure that all of the numbers are still visible. You want to edit the title to include how many rolls that experiment represented. Make sure you hit Enter to save that title. And then Control-C for copy. Go back to your presentation and click Control-V. You will move it to be on top of where Experiment 2 is, and then resize it. At this point, you are going to conduct 4 more experiments, each time using an increasing amount of rolls. Make sure that your rolls are meaningful, your amount of rolls is meaningful, such as the amount of days in 3 months, or the amount of days in 9 weeks, or the amount of days in half of a year, or 3 full years, for example. Your numbers should not just be random, but mean something related to the school year. Because we don't want to have to do that many rolls, we're going to use Scratch to generate the data. So you'll again go back to Google Classroom and click on the link. I am showing you here the spinner program that I wrote so that it will let you see the die program that I wrote for the first time. But it's a very simple program to use, and it's going to work in much the same way. When you get there, you will just click on the flag to begin, and it's going to ask you how many times you want to spin, or in your case, how many times you want to roll the dice. Use the same amount that you decided on with your teammate. So let's say, for example, that you decided to do 90 days to represent half of a year. You would type 90 into this box and hit enter. And it's going to take a few seconds or minutes, depending on how many you put in, to generate all the data. But then you will see in the top corner that, much like I have an amount for each color, you're going to have an amount for each number on the die. Then you will transfer this data, just by typing it, back into this data sheet. So here you would put, in my case, 90, because I had 90 spins. And then I would put each of the numbers here that shows up in that top right-hand corner. And then, just as we did with the first two, you will make a pie chart and then paste it into your Google presentation. When you have completed a total of 6 experiments, that will be 4 using the Scratch program, then you are ready to turn in your presentation. Remember to go back to Google Classroom and click Turn In when you are all the way ready. Please let me know if you have any questions as we are working today.